Hi, I'm John with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we're going to be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember that anytime you work on an appliance, make sure that it is unplugged or the circuit breaker is turned off so there is no chance of electrocution. We're going to show you how to install a new evaporator fan motor for a GE refrigerator. It's a really easy job that only requires a 1/4-inch nut driver, a 5/16" nut driver, a pair of wire strippers, 4 butt connectors, and a few minutes of your time. When you open the package, you'll get one new evaporator fan motor. The reason why you'd be replacing the evaporator fan motor is if the refrigerator or freezer sections are too warm or if there's an odd noise during operation. Start by opening the freezer door. Remove the ice bucket assembly. Remove the top shelf assembly. Remove the metal shelf located at the top of the freezer. Unplug the ice maker assembly. Use a 1/4-inch nut driver to loosen and remove the screw that holds the ice maker to the side of the freezer cabinet. And then remove the ice maker assembly. Use a 5/16" nut driver to remove the screw that holds the ice auger motor assembly in place. Lift up on the left edge of the auger motor assembly, then pull out on the assembly. Unplug the auger motor wiring harness. Remove the light shield. Remove the 2 screws that retain the base of the evaporator fan cover. Loosen, but don't remove, the 2 screws that hold the top portion of the evaporator fan cover. Lift up slightly and then remove the evaporator fan cover. Unplug the wiring harness that goes to the evaporator fan motor. Loosen but don't remove the 2 top screws for the evaporator fan housing. Remove the 2 screws that hold the lower portion of the evaporator fan housing. Lift up and remove the evaporator fan housing. Remove the evaporator motor fan blade by pulling it straight off the evaporator motor shaft. Remove the 2 screws that retain the top mounting bracket. Then, remove the bracket assembly, making sure to not lose the rubber grommet. Pull up on the evaporator fan motor as you simultaneously pull off the plastic dust cap. The new evaporator fan motor is designed to work with a variety of different refrigerator models. Because our evaporator fan assembly has an integrated light, we couldn't use the new wiring harness connector, so we'll need to splice the new motor into the original wiring harness. Use a pair of wire strippers to cut the 4 wires on the old motor assembly. Remove a small amount of the outer insulation from each of the wires in the original harness. Then twist the ends of the wires so that they're straight. Here's the old evaporator motor next to the new one. If you already have the new part, great. If not, you can get it from AppliancePartsPros.com. Position the new motor assembly in its approximate location to determine where you'll need to cut the new wires to connect to the old wiring harness. Use a pair of wire strippers to cut the wires on the new motor. Using a pair of wire strippers, remove a small amount of the outer insulation from each of the wires on the new motor. Then, twist the ends of the wires so that they're straight. Position a butt connector onto the end of one of the new motor's wires. Then crimp it in place. Afterwards, install a butt connector onto the end of each of the other wires. Position the new evaporator fan motor into the mount assembly. Reinstall the top mounting plate. Then, thread in and tighten the two retaining screws. Connect the new motor's colored wires to the original wiring harness. Then, crimp the butt connectors in place. Rotate the housing, then press the plastic dust cap onto the motor shaft. Afterwards, reinstall the fan blade onto the motor shaft. Position the evaporator fan assembly in the freezer. After the top of the fan assembly slips down into position, thread in and tighten the two mounting screws used to retain the lower portion of the evaporator fan assembly. Then, tighten the top mounting screws. Reconnect the wiring harness for the evaporator fan motor. Reinstall the evaporator fan cover, making sure that the top screws align with the slots. Tighten the two screws that retain the upper portion of the evaporator fan cover. Thread in and tighten the two screws that retain the base of the evaporator fan cover. Install the light shield. Plug in the auger motor wiring harness. Then, install the auger motor assembly. Use a 5/16" nut driver to thread in the bolt that retains the auger motor. Reinstall the ice maker. Then, thread in and tighten the retaining screw. Reconnect the ice maker wiring harness. Install the top metal shelf, making sure that the side clips in to the two clips. Reinstall the top shelf assembly. Reinstall the ice bucket assembly. Close the freezer door, and then reconnect the power cord. Afterwards, the refrigerator should be ready for use. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. And be sure to check out our other repair videos on our website, on our Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel.